Okay, you guys, so this is part 2. We are looking at August paycheck budget tracker. This is the paycheck date of August 15th. We're going to go ahead and get started. What I am going to do is go over the budgeted amount and the actual amount at the same time to try to cut down some time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So we do have my inflow section right here. Like I said, I do share my W-2 income. I don't share the rest of my sources and where they come from. So we do have my source number one's income. I did budget $1,719.71, and that's exactly what came in, $1,719.71. My rollover in account number one, I budgeted $358.69, and that's exactly what came in. My rollover number two, in account number two, I budgeted $446.72, but as you can see, $446.77 came in. And then my source number three, I did not budget for, but it did come in at $10.58. So altogether, I budgeted for this paycheck $2,525.12, and what actually came in was $2,535.75. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and look at the fixed expenses that I am going to be paying with this paycheck this week. So we do have half of my September's rent. I go ahead and make sure that I take that out as soon as I get paid. So that is due on the 15th. I budgeted $493, and that's exactly what happened. Half of my lawyer bill for October on the 15th, I budgeted $175, and that's exactly what happened. Half of my car insurance for September on the 15th as well, I budgeted $182, and that's exactly what happened. The way I budgeted that to come out on the 17th, and I budgeted $20, and that's exactly what happened. For Apple Care for my iPhone, that's due on the 17th, I budgeted $13.49, and that's exactly what happened. My light bill due on the 17th, I budgeted $100, and that's exactly what happened. My earthquake insurance is due on the 17th. Now that's kind of tricky right now because I don't know if I have to, I set up automatic payments. I did set up auto payments, but they're acting like they're not taking them out. So I don't know if I have to manually go in every month to check on that and make sure they're taking out the bill. So I'm going to have to probably call them and let them know like, hey, I got my payments on auto pay, but you guys are not deducted it. So I'm going to have to get on that. I budgeted $0 because I already paid 2 months worth last paycheck, I believe, or last month. No, this paycheck. As you guys can see, I did double up the payment right here. Okay, so that actually came out at $0. Google storage due on the 19th, I budgeted $199, and that's exactly what happened. Amazon Prime due on the 20th, I budgeted $7.60, and that's exactly what came out. Pandora due on the 20th, I budgeted $5.99. That did not clear my account this week. So altogether, for my fixed expenses, I budgeted $999.07. But what actually came out was $993.08. I had a leftover budgeted at $1,526.05. But what we actually had left over was $1,542.67. So we're going to go ahead and look at the variable expenses for this paycheck. Okay, so for my variable expenses, I had budgeted $50 for gas. Household, I budgeted $0. Food out, I budgeted $40. For me, I budgeted me $50. My daughter, I budgeted her $100. My son, I budgeted him $80. Miscellaneous, I budgeted $50. Groceries, I budgeted $150. And car wash / car accessories, I budgeted $0. What actually happened was for gas, we spent $34.64. For household, we actually spent $0. Food out, we actually spent $43.15. For me, I did not spend anything. My daughter did receive her $100. My son spent $84.76. Miscellaneous received $127.94. Groceries received $0 because I did do a big grocery haul right here. As you guys can see, I spent $214, so we didn't really need much this following week. And yeah, that was $0. And then car wash / car accessories, we spent $10. So altogether, what we actually spent for our variable expenses was $400.49. I budgeted $520 to spend, and we spent $400.49, which is very good. So what I had budgeted for leftover was $1,006.05, but what we actually had left over was $1,142.18. So now we're going to go over here and jump into my sinking funds. So what I had budgeted for my sinking funds, my emergency, I budgeted $50. My car maintenance, I budgeted $50. And for my land, I do say that in my core savings, and that's $100. What I actually saved was $50 for my emergency. Car maintenance, I did save $50, and then for my land, I did save $100. Okay, so my sinking funds, what I had budgeted for, I budgeted $200, and that's exactly what happened. I budgeted $806.05 to have left over, but we actually had left over was $942.18. So we're gonna go down here to our extra savings. As I explained earlier, what I do is just go ahead and roll over money into the next following week, okay? So what I had budgeted to roll over in account number 1 was $385.40, but we actually rolled over $395.98. In my account number 2, I budgeted $420.65 to roll over, but what we actually rolled over was $546.20. So I had budgeted $806 to roll over, $806.05 to roll over to next week to help pay bills. But what we actually rolled over was more, which is very good, at $942.18. Okay, so this was part 2 of my budget, paycheck budget. So now I'm going to go ahead and get to part 3. So come back for part 3.